The Utah Jazz hoped to get their things righted against the Portland Trailblazers, but it was instead the writing done by Portland all over the top of the Utah Jazz. We're talking about what happened as the Blazers end their 8-game losing streak, and the Jazz have now lost 4 straight. Next, when we continue, coming up on Postcast. Where's my little thing? There it is.
You are Locked On Jazz, your daily podcast on the Utah Jazz. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It is Postcast. David Locke along with Ron Boone. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you and some of you on the East Coast who probably already celebrating Thanksgiving. We are very thankful that you are passionate enough about your team and care enough about the team that you're willing to spend time with us after a disappointing night by the Utah Jazz. It was a night that started with Will Hardy kind of putting a line in the sand that says, if you don't play hard and you don't pass, you're not playing for the Utah Jazz. And it just never got going tonight. Portland, who has only led in one game all year by 10 points, has never led all season by more than 12, led 25-12, I believe it was. They were up by 13, their largest lead of the season, within about 6 minutes of this game. And it never continued. The game was never tied. There were no lead changes. And this one is, and Will Hardy said before the game, we're not going to talk about excuses. We're not going to talk about fatigue. It's a fatigue league. So we won't do it either. We'll follow Will Hardy's, rule on that. Like, okay, 3 games, 4 nights, double. Oh no. Like they got waxed by a team that had lost 8 in a row, that came in as the worst offensive team in the league. They got Malcolm Brogdon back, which helps them. But wow, this feels like I don't know. This one's hard. This was surprising.
And maybe you can tell me. I was meant to look at that today and what the Jazz have been doing in the first quarter here as of late. I know they were down 11 in the first quarter tonight, and this is a team that I don't think can afford to play uphill consistently.
You're 100% right, Ron. Yeah. They're 4-0 this year when they lead at the half. They're 0-10 now when they trail at halftime. Here's what's crazy about that. The Jazz are 19th in the league in first quarters. Okay, so that's not – we're actually not good as in the third and fourth quarters more. But the last 2 teams we've played came into the game as last in the league in first quarters. The Lakers were the worst first quarter team in the league until they played us, and then Portland became the worst first quarter team in the league, and then they beat us 32-21 today. I mean, the numbers, I can keep going just because this was such an out-of-body experience by Portland. I mean, there is a level where it feels like the Jazz got hit by the regression to the mean on the Blazers. The Blazers came into the night shooting 31.9% on three-point shots, last in the NBA, and then promptly went 17 of 39 against us. Like, what is that?
Yeah. And all of a sudden, did you pronounce that? Drop?
Yeah. Like, right.
And all of a sudden, he's making
like their third-string centers, like bearing.
Yeah.
Right. Kamara comes in 1 of 13 from 3. He goes 2 of 4. Shaedon Sharpe comes in 5 of his last 26 from 3. He goes 2 of 4. Like, what is this? It's like a little nutty. Scoot Henderson's the only one who was shooting 9% from 3. He went 0 for 3, so that actually helped too. But otherwise, just really an unbelievably just kind of straight, unexpected. I guess that would be. You really felt like this was Portland. They've lost 8 in a row. You've lost to the Suns and the Lakers, but like you're going to come out here tonight and rectify the things that are wrong, and nothing got rectified.
Offense, I know we talk about the offense quite a bit, because we can see, that the things that they're not doing, what the coach has been preaching. But defensively, they're struggling there as well. I mean, you're giving up 51% to a team that's.
They were the worst shooting team in the league coming in. I mean, there's I don't know enough to tell you what's going wrong.
They had a great night.
And so the question you have to ask a little bit on this one is, because this is the storyline coming in, really. And we said it, so the storyline coming in was the Blazers came in. I never got into these numbers, so we'll do it here. So the Blazers came in last in the NBA in half-court offense. They averaged 0.84 points per half-court possession. I mean, they weren't sort of bad. They're 13 points per 100 possessions, worse than the average.
It's not good.
Okay. The Jazz came in with the worst half-court defense in the NBA. 106, which is a lot considering the league average is 97. But we were only 9 points worse than league average. So you wondered, like, which of those two things was going to win the day. And then somehow the Blazers get hot. Like, I do think that there's like this kind of crazy shooting by the Blazers. But the Blazers, who, Ron, on the year, what was it, 0.84? They were 1.12 points in the half court tonight. Like, they were so far above their horrendous league average. It's crazy.
But it's amazing, David. We see this night in and night out. We watch it on TV when teams just seem to have a little momentum and things seem to be going good, right? And all of a sudden, the whole team seems to be playing a little bit above their head, or I mean, just and if you can't put that fire out some kind of way, then this is what you're going to get. I mean, you're going to get a team that was struggling. Now the confidence starts to build, and you get centers that shoot 28%, knocking down threes, and all of a sudden you can't put the fire out.
You make such a great point, because here's what was visually obvious if you watch this game, and if you were listening to it, we tried to portray this. They were playing with like this youthful, exuberant confidence, and our guys looked so tight. And that's a little bit where you're making the point about we've got to play from ahead. Now that's not that easy, because but you're right. Like Matisse Thybulle's a bad shooter. Like, he's bounced around to teams in the NBA and barely been on the NBA rosters because he can't shoot. He was just like pulling, like he was so confident. And then the Jazz were driving, and you could feel how tense the Jazz were in their actions tonight in trying to force things and make the right play. There was a possession where the Jazz, I think, had a shot clock violation because everyone just was trying so hard to do the right thing in the possession, where throw the extra pass, do this. So you're right, Ron. Like, it's a great way to say it. Is like the early start by Portland, even though they lost 8 in a row, they somehow got that kind of juice on the court and got that confidence. And our guys just headed the opposite direction tonight.
I would like to see the Jazz start to score out of their offense, and not so much individual. I mean, guys out there got a lot of skills, but use those skills within the offense, if you understand what I mean. I mean, there's a certain way that Will wants his offense to go. I'd really like to see that work, or if we have the personnel to make it work. Right now I don't see that.
Right. And from a Jazz fan standpoint, I think we will, and everyone feels your frustration. The Jazz have lost 7 of their 11 games by 16 or more.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's not like, I think everyone kind of knew coming in that it was going to be, wins are hard to come by in this league. The league's loaded right now, but I don't think people anticipated losing by 16 or more in 7 of the 11 games. Like, I got it. Like, I think that's a fair feeling from a Jazz fan. I don't think Will's okay with that either. I think that's
David. I think this season was what we thought was going to happen last season.
100%, right? And maybe truthfully, like, we go back to the Mike Conley trades, and that's what Kevin Pelton had a great point on our broadcast. ESPN's Kevin Pelton was with us. Like, if you look at Houston, everything changed for them when they added Fred VanVleet, and they have that kind of. You looked at Portland tonight; they had Malcolm Brogdon. They looked different with Malcolm Brogdon on the floor than when they looked horrendous last week with Shaedon Sharpe on the floor. And we're asking Keontae George much sooner than anyone anticipated to be the starting point guard on this roster, and then the second unit doesn't really have a point guard to. And that's probably the reason why you heard the Jazz being mentioned in the Drew Holiday talk, was to try to find that puzzle. They're not that easy to find, right? Like, they're Fred VanVleet got played an awful lot of money. Malcolm Brogdon, has been moved around a little bit, but those players are not easy to find right now that are organizing your roster and doing that. And it's clear that I thought that was a really good point by Kevin, that player is what seems a little absent right now for the Jazz.
So you got your star players, and you look at every roster in the NBA. There's the star players. There's guys that are going to flat out, for the most part, get it done for you every night. You expect that out of them. But then you look at the support players, and where are they, and how much support do they give those star players in order to make a very good basketball team? The makeup of this Portland Trailblazers team, I think right now it's a lot of support players.
Yeah.
And but that's the reason the Jazz, San Antonio, and the Portland Trailblazers are now 3-4 in 11.
Right. All right. So tough one tonight for the Jazz. They really never got rolling. We're never in this game. They were down 11 at the end of one. They were down 19 at the half. They were down 20 6 at the end of 3, and they end up losing at 121-105. They did win the second half, if that matters to you. They will play the New Orleans Pelicans on Saturday and Monday, which will be awesome because Zion Williamson will be in town, so tickets are available to that. There is a really good Holly Rowe interview with Will Hardy on Jazz Plus, so grab that as well. We give out 2 stars at the end of every game. I'm going to give one to Ochai Agbaji because he came off the bench with a kind of like, oh, I got the message. Like I was too passive in the starting lineup, and I'm going to attack the rim and drive and take these curls and be much more aggressive and have not just be, I mean, can I steal your phrase? Ron Boone says about players that sometimes they're just out there. And Ochai in the starting lineup kind of ended up just out there, and he was much more influential tonight. So I will give him one of my stars. Do you have a star you would like to give?
I really don't, David. What
about Kelly Olynyk back in the starting lineup with 13 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists tonight on 5 of 5 shooting?
Then he would be the only one because, let's give it to Kelly.
Omer Yurtseven was in the rotation. Chris Dunn got minutes early in the third quarter out of frustration. The starters played a full 32 minutes. Will Hardy left the starters in the game to finish it, to send a message that he did not approve of the way they started the night.
25 assists. The Jazz average about 26 a game.
25 assists and 24 turnovers. Yeah, oh, my goodness.
It's the defense is
all right.
Killing them.
We'll see what happens. Jazz New Orleans twice this week. That'll be a lot of fun on Saturday and Sunday. I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. Ron and I are particularly thankful to all of you with such an amazing passion for this team and what you do. I'm thankful for this guy. He's like my favorite. Thanks to Kevin Pelton for joining us on the broadcast, and hope you guys have a wonderful day tomorrow and the rest of the weekend. And we do appreciate you very much, particularly in nights like tonight when it's obviously this is not why you watch a team, root for a team and want to see nights like tonight. We got it. And we feel that with you. But so we really, really do appreciate you taking the time to listen to the show and have a nice day to be with us. Have a great Thanksgiving. On behalf of Ron, I'm David. Have a great night. We will now send you over to the first ever 24/7 YouTube national sports channel stream of Locked On Sports today.